Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about the topic Lost Spring by Anis Jung. Anis Jung was born in Rourkela in the year 1964. She spent her childhood and her adolescent stage in Hyderabad, had her education in Hyderabad and the United States of America, began her career as a writer in India. She is also a famous columnist and editor for leading newspapers. Here, children, I have two pictures for you. I just want you to notice the difference in both the pictures. In the first picture, we see that the children are really happy and enjoying their childhood. The second picture talks about what these children are deprived of. They seem to be begging. This shows very clearly that they are not having a very fruitful childhood. The theme of the story, the author sheds light on the issue of child labor and the loss of childhood among underprivileged children. The story portrays the stark contrast between the lives of those living in poverty and the well off, who seem oblivious to the struggles of the less fortunate. The story focuses on Sahib's aspirations and his desire to escape the clutches of poverty. Mukesh's presence amplifies the underlying themes of lost childhood and the urgent need for societal change. Anis Jung underscores the ubiquity of poverty and the multitude of lost springs representing stolen childhood within the impoverished community. The story also touches upon the gender disparities through Savita, who doesn't attend school. This highlights the societal neglect that leads to limited opportunities for girls in impoverished areas. The story emphasizes how poverty's grip stifles education and perpetuates the cycle of inequality. To conclude, Lost Spring by Anis Jung skillfully weaves the lives of Sahib, Mukesh, and Savita to highlight the loss of childhood, their aspirations, and the harsh impact of poverty on their lives. The story serves as a powerful reminder of the urgent need for the societal reforms, addressing inequalities and providing opportunities for marginalized individuals to break free from the cycle of poverty and realize their dreams. Moving on to the character Sahib. He is from a family of rag pickers who live in the slums of Simapuri on the periphery of Delhi. Born into a life of extreme poverty and deprivation, originally from Dhaka in Bangladesh and moved to Delhi for livelihood, forced to scavenge for rags to earn a meager living. The circumstances denied him a normal childhood. He is unable to attend school or partake in the joys of play that other children of his age enjoy. Despite his grim reality, Sahib is not devoid of dreams. He yearns for a better life and is fascinated by the world beyond the slum in which he lives. Sahib's character embodies the theme of lost innocence. He was exposed to the hardships of life very young at age, had to contribute to his family's survival, and he started working in a tea stall. He was paid rupees 800 as a salary and was given all the meals, but then he lost his carefree look. He found the tea canister heavier when compared to the plastic bag, was very unhappy as he was no longer his own master. He had to dance to someone's tunes. He could not enjoy life the way how he wanted to. Moving on to the next character, Mukesh. He is a young boy who works as a bangle maker, and his occupation involves crafting delicate bangles, which contrasts with the harsh environment he lives in. His family resides in Firozabad, which is famous for bangles, India's glass blowing industry, also known as India's glass blowing industry. Every other family in Firozabad is engaged in making bangles. These families in Firozabad have fallen into the vicious circle of middlemen, sahukars, policemen, keepers of law, bureaucrats, and politicians who trapped their fathers and forefathers. Their families have been caught in a web of poverty by the stigma of caste. Mukesh desires to become a motor mechanic, indicating a longing for upward mobility and a chance to escape from his current situation. Mukesh symbolizes the broader theme of lost potential and dreams among children who are compelled to engage in labor at a very young age. Mukesh's home is amidst crumbling walls, wobbly doors, no proper windows, crowded with families of humans and animals coexisting. They are dingy cells without air and light, hot furnaces inside those tiny hut pens. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. They often lose their eyesight even before they grow into adults. The cry of not having money echoes in every house in Firozabad. Their years of mind numbing toil has killed all the initiative and ability to dream. The third character, Savita, a young girl who lives in the slum as Mukesh. Her family's circumstances mirror those of Sahib and Mukesh as they are trapped in the cycle of poverty and they struggle to make both ends meet. Her hands mechanically move like the tongs of a machine, soldering pieces of glass. Savita's character highlights the challenges faced by girls in impoverished communities. The story mentions that she doesn't attend school, indicating that she, like many other girls in similar situation, is denied an access to education. Savita's character also underscores the theme of lost childhood and innocence due to poverty. Her situation forces her into adult responsibilities at a very young age, depriving her of the carefree experiences that should be inherent to any child. Despite this, Savita possesses dreams and aspirations. Now, moving on to the poetic devices found in the lesson. The first and the foremost, metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech that compares a shared trait between two unlike things. They are illustrations that make a strong point with the help of comparison. Scrounging for gold is a metaphor. Here, gold means coins or notes. It is being compared with gold as finding these coins is like finding treasure to the rag pickers. Drowned in an air of desolation. The deserted temple is being compared to have been sunk in desolation, which is being used figuratively. I see two distinct worlds. The third example, one of the family caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born, the other a vicious circle of sahukars. The web of poverty indicates an inescapable situation, which is similar to a fly caught in a spider's web. No matter how hard it tries, once caught, there is no escape. Moving on to the next poetic device, irony. It's a figure of speech in which the speaker says something but means another. It is used to bring humor to a situation or foreshadow events. After months of knowing him, I ask him his name. This is the example from the lesson. Sahib e Alam. He announces, and his name means that it is Lord of the universe. Sahib in reality is a rag picker and knows nothing but poverty throughout his life, but bears a name ironically, which means that he is the Lord of the universe. Antithesis, a figure of speech in which strongly contrasting ideas are placed in sharp juxtaposition. Sima Pluri, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it, metaphorically. Even though Simapuri is on the outskirts of Delhi, its development is not even close to that in the heart of the city. It is as if Simapuri was miles away from Delhi, and there is absolutely no development when compared to Delhi. It seems that for children, garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. For the children, it is wrapped in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. The same garbage holds different meanings for the elders and children. For the elders, it is nothing but waste, mere waste, that they make use of for their survival. But for the children going through it, it is nothing short of a hidden treasure. Next is a paradox, a statement that appears to contradict itself, but upon further inspection reveals a deeper truth, meaning, or joke. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulders. Here, it implies that the steel canister, being heavier than the plastic bag, conveys that his job no longer offers the freedom that he used to have as a rag picker. Another example, she still has bangles on her hand, but no light in her eyes. The bangles that she worked so hard to make were intact on her wrists, but it cost her eyesight, making her unable to see the beauty she had created all by herself. Simile, the most common poetic device, figure of speech which compares two unlike things using the words like or as. Her hands move mechanically like the tongs of a machine. I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangle she helps make. Savita's hand movements are compared with the tongs of a machine which move mechanically. Alliteration, occurs when two or more words in immediate sequence share the same first consonant sound. Few airplanes fly over Firozabad. First sound in few, fly, and Firozabad is repeated in immediate sequence. Hyperbole is a figure of speech that uses an exaggerated or extravagant statement to create a strong emotional impact. Survival in Simapuri means rackpicking, and it has acquired the proportions of a fine art. Garbage to them is gold. Rag picking, acquiring the proportions of fine art, and garbage becoming gold to them is a hyperbole. Rag picking has been portrayed or exaggerated as such a desperate and deep profession to the point that garbage is being called or referred to as gold. Now, moving on to the most important points which we really need to ponder and remember. The characters in the story primarily revolve around Sahib and Mukesh. Sahib is a young boy who engages in rag picking to support his family. Mukesh, a bangle maker who dreams of becoming a motor mechanic and wants to drive a car. Their characters' aspirations highlight their desire for a better life. The poverty's impact on these characters. The narrative vividly portrays the impact of poverty on Sahib and Mukesh. They are trapped in a cycle of labor, deprived of basic education, and forced to grow up prematurely due to their circumstances. Loss of childhood. The concept of a lost spring symbolizes the stolen childhood of these children. Their dreams and innocence are sacrificed for their survival. The story explores how poverty robs them of their joys and experiences of a carefree childhood. Dreams and aspirations. Both Sahib and Mukesh dream of escaping poverty. They want to do something good, they want to grow big. Sahib desires to become something, symbolizes his yearning for simple pleasures. Mukesh aspires to become a motor mechanic, showcasing his desire for upward mobility. Exploitation and inequality. Mukesh's bangle making occupation highlights the exploitative nature of certain jobs in impoverished communities. His skills are undervalued and he is paid meager wages for intricate work. This underscores the systemic injustice faced by the marginalized people. Lack of education. The story emphasizes the lack of access to education for children like Sahib and Savita. Their potential remains untapped due to societal neglect and economic constraints. Gender disparity. The absence of education is particularly significant for girls like Savita, who are doubly marginalized due to both poverty and gender discriminated. The story highlights the struggles faced by girls in impoverished communities. Societal inertia. The narrative indirectly criticizes the insensitivity of the affluent society towards the struggles of the marginalized. The sweetmeat seller symbolizes this lack of empathy as he ignores Sahib's longing. Let's recap. Justifying the title Lost Spring. Literally talking about Lost Spring denotes a season of freshness, energy, fragrance, and vitality, which is lost in both the characters. But here it has been associated with the lives of the rag pickers and bangle makers. This suggests how these children, even in a tender age or even at a tender age, when they should be carefree and enjoying their life, engage themselves in the breadwinning task. There is no childhood in their childhood. Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it metaphorically. Though Simapuri is on the periphery of Delhi, yet they are poles apart from each other. Delhi is a metropolitan city with high standard of life and modern amenities, whereas Simapuri witnesses a poor lifestyle devoid of even the basic facilities like drainage, sewage, etc. The two distinct worlds the bangle makers feel themselves caught in. The bangle makers are caught in two distinct worlds. One is of the families caught in a web of poverty, burdened by the stigma of caste in which they are born. The other is a vicious circle, a poisonous circle of sahukars, the middlemen, the policemen, the keepers of law, the bureaucrats, and the politicians. Thank you, children. I hope you have understood the lesson. Wishing you all the best for your upcoming board examinations. Thank you.